Last week, Troy needed a win to get to the championship game and to keep their win streak alive. And I flipped on the TV, and they're down. And then they go on this unbelievable run in the fourth quarter and put away Arkansas State, and now they're playing for a championship and maybe a shot at a New Year's Six bowl game. We've said it a couple times on the show. If you're in the area or anywhere watching us and you're a Troy fan, it's a good time to go home this weekend and support a championship team in a championship setting on their home turf.
Man, that's just good coaching is what that is, Jim. John Sumrall is the head coach of the Troy Trojans. He's with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What's up, Coach? How are you?
Hey, what's up? I really like you guys already. I appreciate y'all saying that. Yeah, no, I'm good, man. I'm glad that we're practicing football, getting ready for a game the first Saturday in December. That usually means it's a good thing in college football.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. But, I mean, I guess, well, first of all, let me ask you this. This is your first year. I mean, when you were on with us in the summer, we loved your enthusiasm. Did you envision being able to do this in year one?
Yeah, I didn't really maybe place expectations on record or conference championship or any of that. I thought we had a chance to be successful. I did. And that really started with when I got the job December the 2nd a year ago. There were several veteran, experienced players who I knew from when I was here as an assistant that we recruited here that made the decision to return. Carlton Marshall, Austin Stidham, several guys that were sixth and fifth year players who made decisions to come back for one more year, and they wanted to leave a different mark than being 5 and 7. And so when we got those guys on board, I knew we had a chance to maybe flip things a little faster. Didn't know the record and what that would look like, but I knew from a cultural standpoint and the standards within the program of how we would operate, I knew we could get things turned around a little bit quicker the direction I wanted, because I knew those guys would create buy-in, and they would also reinforce the standards we were bringing as a new staff, because any team can be coach-led, but when you have player leadership, that's when special things happen.
Hey, Coach, going back to this past weekend, you guys are down 13-7 against Arkansas State at halftime. You scored 34 points in the fourth quarter. You've been coaching close to 2 decades now. Have you ever been involved in a 34-point quarter?
Not that I could think of at all. It was an onslaught once we got it going. All it took was a play or two to create some momentum, and then it was like the dam broke and the water was coming through for our guys, and it just created confidence. You know, we've been in that position a lot this year. I mean, we were down 10-0 to Louisiana Lafayette at halftime, and we got down 17-0 in the third quarter, and we won 23-17, and then we were down 9-0 against Army at halftime, which when you're down 2 scores to Army, that's like being down 4 scores to anybody else almost because of how they possess the ball. And I went in the locker room on Saturday at halftime, and I just told our guys, hey, look, we've played about as bad as we could play, all right? And we're down 6 points. And we've been here before. We've got this game right where we want it, because once we start playing good, look out. And I think our guys have developed confidence in finish the game, play the entire game, and don't waver. It's a 4-quarter game for a reason. They don't name a winner at halftime.
Well, you go back to the game day with game days at Appalachian State. You guys had played Ole Miss to the end and lost to a good Ole Miss team. You'd beaten Alabama A&M, and you have the nation watching you upset the darlings of college football at that time, and then one of the craziest plays you lose, and now you haven't lost since. What do you think your team learned and gained from that horrible moment at the end of that game?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the 11th game of the 2021 season, our team lost to App State at home 45-7. All right, the third game of the 2022 season, our team, for 59 minutes and 58 seconds, we played really good football, and we played really crappy one last play. And so a lot of heartbreak, a lot of emotion, a lot of frustration in the way that game finished by everybody, me included. But I think it showed the amount of growth that the young men on our team had made. Now, while we did not get the win, and I'm only okay with winning, I don't like losing, I don't like moral victories. I want tangible, real results of wins. I think it helped our players understand what we are doing is working. We just have to maybe recalibrate some things and hone in and be more detailed in certain areas. But it showed them that, hey, we can do this. We're improved. We're better. And I think the most impressive part of all of it was it's hard to get up off the mat after that. And the way our guys responded since that game is what's been extremely impressive to me. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know if we're sitting here talking about playing a championship game on Saturday if we win that game. We knocked that ball down. I'm not saying we wouldn't be, but I think it helped harden us. It helped help us grow. You grow through adversity, not through comfort and success. And I think we grew a lot in that moment.
Coach John Sumrall, head coach Troy, with us for a few more moments, getting ready for the Sun Belt Championship game. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. A reminder, Alabama Power allows you to pay with Amazon Pay, Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, and Venmo. Easy, secure, and reliable. All you need is an online account, alabamapower.com/myaccount to get started. Just a few moments ago, Jamie Chadwell was on Sirius XM College. He says they hope Grayson McCall can practice this week, but if the game were today, he's an absolute no. You're obviously preparing for two guys. How difficult does that make it?
Yeah, their system is their system. Grayson's a fantastic player. I've got a lot of respect for him as a competitor. He's gritty. He's tough. He's a leader. There's a reason why they've been 31-5 the last 3 years and 20-4 in the Sun Belt Conference. And he's a big part of that. But at the same time, their program is bigger than one player, and they've created a great culture. They've got great schemes offensively. They kind of run some option stuff out of the gun, and they take vertical shots off of it. The last 3 years, they've averaged 500 yards a game against Troy. The last 3 times we played them, 19, 20, and 21. And the offense does not really change in regards to what they do and how they do it. He is a really quality player. The other guys they got are pretty good players too. I mean, their third-string kid right now was their starter for some of 2018. I mean, he's been there for 6 years, I think, or 5 years. So they've got some guys that can play. But Grayson's a really good player. I wish him well. I love watching him play. But we got to prepare the same way regardless of who lines up at quarterback for them.
When you look in the AP poll right now, you guys are 26 when you're others receiving votes after winning 9 consecutive games. I know you've got a game to win, but do you ever think about if Tulane was to lose to UCF? I mean, UCF, they lost to East Carolina by 21. They lost at home to Navy. They barely beat South Florida. I mean, your resume technically is better than theirs. With a win, is there any hope of leapfrogging UCF in representing Group 5 for the New Year's Six?
I need to get you an AP vote or on the college football playoff selection committee. I think you'd be a great advocate for us, it sounds like. You
covered for me last week, Coach.
I might have texted a couple of people that are on the CFP and asked them, hey, I want to know how this process works after the season. But no, I think as a coach or as a player, you don't really look at what the rankings or the success was till after the year. I mean, nobody cares about in week 11 or 12 what you were ranked. It's all about where you finish at the very end. And we're very fortunate to be playing a very meaningful and impactful game this Saturday. It's got a trophy on the line. And then we're also very fortunate to be playing a bowl game after that. We got 2 more. We get to play 2 games in December. That's pretty freaking cool. And so I would love for our kids to be ranked. I think it'd be a great opportunity for our program, but we got to just keep playing our brand of football. And if we do, I think that will handle itself.
Both these guys will tell you how often I talk about how good the Sun Belt is. After that App State loss, who App State had beaten Texas A&M, Marshall, Western Kentucky, Southern Miss, South Alabama, Louisiana. I mean, you go down that list there. That resonates with our Alabama and Auburn viewers, too. That's your resume. Quickly tell us about the Sun Belt Conference and just how good that league is football-wise, and you guys have a chance to be a champion. But top to bottom, that's a great football league.
Well, you just said some teams there. App State beat Texas A&M, right?
Right.
2 weeks before we beat Marshall, they beat Notre Dame.
Right.
All right. Southern Miss, who you said they beat Tulane, who's ranked, and we beat Southern Miss the very next week.
Exactly.
So there's some, like Notre Dame's in the top 25. Tulane's in the top 25, and they're deservedly so. They're good teams. But like this league, week in, week out, anybody can beat anybody. I mean, it is a juggernaut. I've coached in the SEC. I played in the SEC. I feel like this is the Group of 5 version of the SEC, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we played Arkansas State last week, and I'm looking around, I'm like, these guys, they look pretty good to me for a team that's won 3 games. Well, it's because that league is ridiculously challenging, you know? And so you go back, like we talked about, App beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M just beat LSU.
Yep.
And you can't play that game forever. I mean, but there's the brand of football here in the Sun Belt each and every week. Great coaches, great players, really quality fan bases. We're not even mentioning what, you know, Lafayette's done. South's had a good year. South Al's had a good year. Coastal's been coastal. I mean, JMU.
Yes.
How about JMU? They're pretty good. Like, there's a lot of teams, man, in this league that week in, week out, you can get your nose bloodied and your eye blackened if you're not ready to play.
All right, anywhere close to Troy, go be in Veterans Memorial Stadium, 2:30 Saturday. ESPN, if you can't make it, to watch Troy Coastal play for the Sun Belt Championship. Coach, we wish you the best of luck. I know it's a great, crazy week for you, but we appreciate you making the time for us.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that plug at the end. And by close to Troy, what you mean is the entire state of Alabama. We're the only FBS team playing on Saturday. So if you live in Alabama and you're not at the Troy game, you need to figure out, do you love football?
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
All right. Do not know how you don't pull for that guy. He is on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.